Sweet. I think we're live. I don't think anyone's hanging out yet, but it's
We are
probably just you and me.
live.
But yeah, thanks for hanging out.
I'm glad you had me. I've never done a reading sprint per se, but I watched the one you did with RJ, and I thought it looked so fun and chill and just like a nice hangout time. So I'm glad you asked me
Yeah,
to do this.
I never really knew what that was about. I saw RJ do one, and RJ was just alone, hanging out, doing a reading sprint. He thought he'd go live and read and stuff. And obviously, it's a
Mhm.
thing. We've seen people and stuff do it. Um, and so I was in the comments. I had a good time. And the next time he did one, or actually, I think I said I want to do that. Can you hop on with me? And we did it, and it was super fun. And I was
Yeah, it
saying
was.
to yeah, I was saying to you before we went live that this morning, like it's 8:30 in the morning right now. I had a cup of coffee. I'm honestly like I was just gonna read this morning, and I thought, well, it'd be kind of cool to have some company or go live and maybe talk to people or whatever.
I
But
agree.
it's just a easy, boring morning that I'm just gonna read. So, so yeah, man. I think we got some people here. We
Oh,
got
good.
Andrew here. What's up, man?
Hey,
Cool. We got
Andrew.
Caitlin. Hey, Caitlin. How's it going?
Cool,
What's
cool.
up? We got
We have
this
friends.
tall
That was
guy that I
it.
haven't seen before. Some new guy.
I know. I want to talk about your live stream you did
Hi,
last
Rachel.
night.
Yeah, it was super. Did you catch the whole thing? Did you
So
watch
I
part of
didn't
it
get to
at
watch it
least?
live, but I
Yeah.
watched the replay just a little while ago, and I think that concept is so fun.
It was
Like I
fun. It was
love
more fun than I
that.
thought it would be. Like we thought it would just be kind of cool with the crew, and then somebody's idea was, why not? Why don't we do this as a live? Bring people in and kind of share that reaction because we
Hmm.
were just gonna like surprise each other, right?
No, I'm
And
glad to see. I was so
it
happy
was
to see
super
your
funny.
reactions.
My favorite is when RJ busts in like 4 minutes in, not knowing we're live,
Yes,
straight from bartending a wedding. So good,
it was funny
so
because
good.
I mean he was
Hi,
just
Penny.
was like
Thanks.
greeting you guys and stuff, but I was like, how funny would that have been if he said something like totally off the wall? I was like, oh my gosh, are we live? But
Yeah.
we didn't get that kind of live moment, but it was
No,
still
no,
fun.
but it was good. It was just funny. He's like,
It
"Oh
was
shit,
good.
yeah, I guess we're doing this." Hey, Diamond. Hey, Safina. What's going on?
Hey
Yeah. So
guys.
what are you reading, Madison? What are you gonna? So before I ask you, I wanna ask your opinion because I'm conflicted, and you're probably gonna hate me for this. So I'm at the end of Howling Dark. I'm at like
Mhm.
20% left, and there was a middle chunk that kind of dragged for me. And
Mhm.
people are going to be like, what? That's crazy. But it's picking up right now. I just got to the part where I'm like, what in the world just happened? Like, where are we going to go from here? I have the option to maybe finish that up. I don't know if I can finish it up on the live stream, but I'll finish it today. Probably I have a slammed kind of day later. But I started the Falcon of Sparta by Con Igledin. This is a Greek Persian story.
Nice.
It's a historical fiction. So
Okay.
and I'm loving it. It starts off, I don't want to spoil it, but it starts off with a huge bang, and I'm like 100 pages in, and I just want to read that. But I'm at the good part, not the good part, but like the wrap up craziness of Howling Dark. So I don't know what I should read right now. Like, what would you
So
do?
Howling Dark does have a banger of an ending, and there's a lot of payoff there. It is,
Okay.
I think, kind of a challenging book to read. He
Okay.
definitely tried something pretty bold in that book that I think
Totally.
pays off, but like it's disorienting for the reader
Oh,
because it's a time in Hadrian's life that was disorienting for him.
sure.
And
Yeah.
so that's he's trying to put you in the same state of like stress that like so you can relate to Hadrian as you're reading.
Yeah.
And I really did like that book, but I mean I've read four Sound Eater books, and if you have to rank them, something has to come in last, right? And
Yeah.
Howling Dark is probably my least favorite as a reading experience.
So
I
now I think, are you with Mike on that? Did Mike
mm,
or Mike liked
I
Empire of Silence quite a bit more than other people did, didn't he?
well, and I see. Well, and that's where we are kind of the same. Which I don't. I would not rank Empire of Silence as my number one anymore,
Okay.
but for a while it was. 'Cause
Interesting.
I just love beginnings, and I love that slow
Yeah.
roll start. And I
Yeah.
am a sucker for a gladiator timeline, and we get a little bit of that in Empire of Silence. So I love Empire of Silence, and Howling Dark was just a little more challenging for me, and I wasn't quite ready for it. I don't think so. I think Howling
Right.
Dark is a book I will appreciate much more on a reread, um, because
Okay.
I will completely understand like where it's going, and
I
that
think
helps
I
so
I think I
much.
agree with that. I think I
And
agree with that.
I'm not doing a reread leading up to Ashes of Man, but when it gets to the final book, I think I will do a slow reread leading up to the final book, because this is the type of series that you will absolutely glean more from it every time you read it. So
Yeah.
I do plan a reread, just not immediately. But Howling Dark is probably my least favorite, just because it was just kind of a difficult read for me. But the payoff is worth it because it is a cool book.
I thought Howling Dark ranked really, really high for most people, and that might be
I think
true.
it does.
That might be true for you and I think we're probably aligned. Where I like it better than Empire of Silence because it does a whole lot of stuff, and we're really kicking off. Where Empire of Silence was the slow build up, and you can appreciate it for that. It's picking up now. I think that the next few books I'll probably like more from what I hear. And so
Yeah.
I'm excited. I think I might just continue with, Alex wants me to finish this because I'm being a bitch about it. But so I'll finish it because I'm right at the good stuff. But yeah, I wonder how Demon in White is going to, because that's the next one, right? Demon in White.
Yeah, Demon in White is kind of like a mind trip. Like Demon in
Cool.
White was one of those that, like, there were several segments that I would read it and be like, I'm going to reread that immediately right now because I have no idea what just happened. But it's not because it's not that it's like convoluted and crazy. It's just, it's complex and it's cool. And he's messing with stuff that you're like, I mean, I have a simple mind, you guys. And like, I'm not really big into sci-fi. And so I had to work for that one. But Demon in White is probably my favorite.
It's a lot of people's top. So I agree with Caitlin.
Good.
We were talking in the patron chat, and it was just like sci-fi for me. I don't have a whole lot of sci-fi under my belt. I used to read more of it like back in the day, but in terms of like as an adult and like the crazy sci-fi that and of course I've read some of the older stuff and I've read Dune and all that stuff, but I don't consider myself an experienced sci-fi reader, so it takes me an awful long time to read this kind of stuff. Weirdly enough, and Rockio's prose is so good that not only do I want to kind of reread stuff to be like, to get that impact again, because he says some things where I'm just like, holy shit, like
I know
how did he say that? That's crazy. And the philosophy is, I mean, the guy's just brilliant.
He's brilliant.
But it takes me longer to read just because of some of the concepts and things and some of the names and what's going on. It is dense.
It's dense. And so I don't want that to scare people off, because I do think I think it's accessible. You just don't rush it, and don't get too caught up if you need to reread a chapter or something. Like, that's okay.
Totally. Yeah.
Because typically I don't need all the like layers and the meaning and the philosophy. I don't always need that in my books, but I can appreciate it when it's there. I can't read that kind of stuff all the time. So just don't overthink it, because there are also things that I remember reading it and going, I don't know what that means. And I'm like, you have a choice. You can go back and overanalyze it and like stress about it, or you can move on and just hope that like he's a good enough storyteller that he's gonna help you along the way. So sometimes I have to do that too.
He fills in the gaps. He's very good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he knows when people are going to start questioning things, and he starts to fill in the gaps a little bit and give you a little bit of the older, the past stuff. Yeah, it's and that's the thing. I don't know, and this is cool because we're doing the read along. Obviously, we're doing one book a month, which is, I think, a good pace for me for something like this, and it gives me a chance to fit a lot of other stuff in. Speaking of fitting stuff in, the live stream last night, I got Blood Meridian.
I saw
by Baron.
I know. I want to talk about your choice, like what they chose for you, because
Blood Meridian and 5th season and 11/22/63.
I'm
so I have
excited you're reading 11/22/63. You are going to love that book.
I know. I meant to read that with you last year. I believe it was last year.
Yeah, I read it last November.
Yeah, and I saved it for this November. But I'm pushed to read it sooner. And to be honest with you, I'm excited. It's been on my shelf forever, and I know that's going to be one that I was going to pick sooner than later. So yeah.
And don't be intimidated by the fact that it's the size of a brick, because I don't remember who said that, but like it does read really fast. And I know that annoys people sometimes when they're like, what do you mean? It's an 1,100 page book. But like I consumed it so quickly just because it's a book you don't put down. Like, it's so
that's
good.
What people and Alex actually brought up a good point, that it has a lower page count than Howling Dark, which is interesting. So it's when you put it in context like that, it's not it's doable.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was like a 4 or 5 day read for me because I just couldn't stop.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you're going to do any audio for that, but the audiobook one was amazing.
I heard it's pretty good. I have the audio queued up. So for that one, what I'll do is I'll read as much as I can
A little bit
normally,
of
and then I'll throw the audio on to fill in the gaps and know that I can flow through it. Because Stephen King reads fairly quick, I think. He's great, but he reads
I think
easy.
so too.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like I've read some huge books by Stephen King, but I mean, I think I took 2 weeks to read it, so it's not like I just blazed through them, but you want to savor it. And when it's over, you're sad. So I don't mind a long book that I enjoy every page of.
Yeah. Yeah. This is one of your favorites, right? 11, 22, 63, I think.
Yeah. I've never ranked Stephen King books, but it would definitely be in my top 3. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited too, Alex. I'm glad you picked it. It was one that it's been on my shelf. I know that I wanted to kind of read, Scott's going to hate me. I was going to read through publication order, but then there's a couple books that I wanted to just grab for. And I was doing that with some of the short stories. The last one I read was The Body, and I was going to fit some of those in. But I was going to reach for 11/22/63 just because I really want to read it. And from what I understand, it doesn't have a whole lot of connection, or at least none that would kind of ruin
there's enough. There's little Easter eggs that you might read other stuff down the road and go, oh, cool. But there's nothing that you're going to be reading it going, I am lost.
Right. But I don't have to read it before.
There's no prerequisites. Right? Yeah.
Cool.
I do think that book really benefits from reading it first. But again, you're not going to be lost if you haven't. It's just it's a nice chunk of it that really, they play off of each other. But as far as publication order goes and Scott, I don't think he necessarily means that with something like Stephen King, who is so prolific and has written hundreds of books. You don't need to read it in publication order. But yeah, if you're asking how to read The First Law or something, don't ask, just publication order always,
Yeah.
You're good with Stephen King though.
Yeah. And I don't know if I misspoke, but he's saying, Alex is saying higher page count, but lower word count. So
that's right.
The word count is the important thing. So that kind of puts it in perspective, because I have been kind of stressing out trying to fit stuff in. And I know August, this week I'm off coming up, and then I have a little bit of time off in October, but September's super, super slammed. I have a lot of stuff with work that I got to do. So I wondered what I was going to be able to fit in. So I was thinking that these guys were going to give me some big chunkers, but they were kind of nice. Alex was kind of a dick, but the rest were, they were all kind of jerks, to be honest.
Yeah. So,
I'm excited for all of them, except Blood Meridian does scare me a little bit.
Very interested to hear what you think of Blood Meridian.
Yeah.
Just because I've been reading with you long enough now that I think I have a pretty good feel for your preferences and your taste. And it's not a book I would have picked for you, but I'm interested to see what you think. And luckily, it's not a long book. So even if you really don't like it, it's not hard to, it is hard to stick with because it's miserable, but at least it's not long.
Yeah. And I wonder where I'm going to land with this one too. So I agree. It's not something, see, that's why this was so fun, is because it's not something I would pick for myself right away. I probably would have read it eventually. I was trying to fit in The Road, but I haven't yet, even though it's short. It's dense, but it's short. But I wouldn't have reached for this right now. I wouldn't have prioritized it right now.
Sure.
So I'm glad someone else forced me into it, so it'll be good. And Barron is one of those guys that he likes it so much. He's so smart, and he does such a nice analysis of books. He understands, you know what I mean? What's, the content a lot more than maybe I might. And so for something like that, it's good to have him to be able to pick his brain. Him and Nick at Book Meridian.
And also,
he's awesome.
Bob from Mike's server.
Yeah.
Bob is a huge, Cormac McCarthy in general, but he loves Blood Meridian. And I felt bad because we just really disappointed him, because the majority of us who read that kind of together, we just really didn't care for it. And I'm I wish my mind worked that way, because I feel like I just didn't get it. Some books, I'm no, I got it. I just didn't enjoy it. That's a book that I'm I didn't get it. I didn't get it.
Yeah, I wonder. I wonder how that's gonna go. I'll let you know. We'll do our wrap ups and stuff. So yeah. Read Howling Dark twice. I just finished Prince of Nothing. Went and read Aspect Emperor. Have you read Aspect Emperor?
No.
That one? Yeah. Mm-mm. That one keeps coming up for me, but I haven't. Yeah, and Prince of Nothing too, but.
Yeah, no. Brent really likes those.
Yeah.
And to me, it just feels it feels too dense for me to start right now. I might get to it down the road because I mean it's pretty. It seems like the people who read it and see it through are just so positive on it. But
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's what my brain wants right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Scott
Uh,
says he does hate me, but it doesn't really matter for multiverse stuff. So I'm gonna get away with it this time. We're still friends. That's dope. Hi, Joanna. How's it going?
so you
James
need to
is
help me
here.
pick what I'm going to read while we're hanging out
Yeah,
because
yeah.
so I'm
What are you
I'm
gonna read?
reading The Forgetting Moon right now,
Sweet.
and it's a reread for me. I'm having so much fun with that, and I'm doing it just 2 or 3 chapters a day, and I'm
Hmm.
really appreciating that pace. Um, so I don't think I'm going to do that right now.
Okay.
And then I'm also reading Golden Fool, which is book
Nice.
2 of the Tawny Man trilogy. And I'm loving it, but I
Yeah.
am doing that one almost completely on audio, so I don't think I'm going to do that one either. So I need to pick an eyes only book to start. So I think I'm going to
Okay.
start a book right now. And I
Okay.
have a couple of things here in front of me. And it's funny you keep talking about The Road because The Road is one of them.
Oh, exciting. That's
I
so
have The
funny. Okay.
Road, but I'm like, maybe Theo wants me to read that with him later. I don't know. So maybe
Yeah,
not.
maybe.
And I have The Heart of What Was Lost by Tad Williams, and that is
Okay. Is
a
it a
Memory, Sorrow, and
prequel?
Thorns sequel that
Sequel. Okay.
happens pretty soon after the events of To Green Angel Tower.
Okay.
And this one is this is nonfiction. And this is called
Hmm.
Empire of the Summer Moon. And it is about the Comanche Indian tribe. And it's supposed to be pretty brutal, pretty intense. This has been recommended to me by a lot of people, mostly my brother. But I think even like Joe Rogan was on this for a while. Like
Oh,
this one
wow.
is. I've been meaning to
Interesting.
read it for a long time, and I haven't started any nonfiction in a while. So, I
Okay.
mean, you see behind me though. Look how many books I have. Like, what should I read? I don't even know.
I don't know. It's always tough. It's always tough to start a new book. Like
Yeah,
you're making that commitment, right? Like I don't know. That's
yeah.
tricky.
Especially
And
because
that
I really don't like to DNF. I don't like to shelve
yeah.
things once I've started them, and so I'm like, this is
There are
big.
times and like Mike's been, enjoying himself lately. He's been mood reading a bit. He'll just pick something up, which is awesome.
Totally.
I can understand getting kind of tied up with schedules and stuff and just wanting to step away and just grab something. So there are
Mhm.
times when I just grab a book and I'm like, I'm not even thinking about it. I want to read that. And then there are sometimes I overanalyze to death and I go, well, if I read that, then it'll take me this long. And what if I don't like that? And that's part of a series. Now I'm committed to
I'm
the rest of it.
terrible at
But
that.
like I just, it takes me so long to choose something sometimes. So
I
I don't know.
agree.
You know what you should read is Pyramids by Terry Pratchett. Hey Dan, what's up?
I don't have
Um,
that.
he's leading a read along with a bunch of us, a bunch of booktubers actually. And I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to fit that in. I haven't started it yet, Dan. I'm trying to make the time. I have a week off coming up, like I said, and I'm going to be able to run through a bunch of books. The next one I'm going to pick up after Howling Dark is considered wrapped up. I'm just enjoying the end of it. I'm going to read Falcon of Sparta. I'm going to finish this up. It's a pretty quick read. It's only like 400 pages or something, and it reads quite quick. And then I'm going to read the patron pick, which was City of Brass, that I've been wanting to read for so long. So I'm going to prioritize that. And then if I can fit in Discworld or Pyramids, if I can, that'll be the next one that I pick up because it's also kind of short and those read quick and kind of funny too. So, and I have the audio for that one as well. So I should be able to fly through it. So I hope, Dan, I can fit it in. I'm not 100% positive yet, but I promised I would try. So I don't know. I don't know. I do want to read The Road with you, particularly because if Blood Meridian doesn't land with me, I still want to read The Road. And in
Same.
fact, I would probably prioritize The Road just so I don't have this weird taste with McCarthy. Like I want to,
Right. I
you know what I
read
mean?
No Country for Old Men a long time ago.
Yeah,
Like in my probably when the movie came out, like a long time
yeah,
ago. And I liked it. And so I'm like, I think I I should like this, right? I don't
yeah.
know.
I don't know. So what are the choices? You have The Road. You have that other nonfiction.
Yeah, Empire of the Summer Moon,
Yeah,
and and like I said, these are just ones I grabbed, but I have other
yeah.
ones sitting around too that I've been wanting to read. Where Crawdads Sing. Have you read that?
I haven't. People are thinking about like talk about The Road a lot. Yeah, The Road is one that save that one for me. But no, I haven't read the Crawdads Sing, Where the Crawdads Sing. I haven't. We haven't seen the movie. We wanted to see the movie. My wife started it, and this is very interesting. So she started it and she DNF'd it. I actually thought that she would enjoy it. I feel like she would like it. And she DNF'd it because of the way that some of the dialogue was written. It was written with a little bit of that kind of drawl, that kind of accent or whatever, that southern kind of
Yeah, because it's
whatever.
like a southern United States,
Yeah.
like
And
Mississippi or something.
yeah, and that's fine. That happens in a lot of books, and I kind of enjoy that because I kind of read it that way. But
Hmm.
it kind of turned her off from it, and the vibe that she got was almost like it was a little overdone,
Okay,
almost a little racist. Like I don't want to put that word out,
sure,
but it was just it didn't give her the right vibes, and she was like, I don't know if I can read this.
that's
So
fair.
it was nothing on the book or the story. She just couldn't get into it, and I feel like she wants to try it again. I'm shocked that she didn't like it or couldn't at least read most of it. You know?
Yeah, it seems like everyone who reads that book really likes. Like Medic
I
really
know.
liked it. Has a lot of
Steph
great stuff
liked
to
it,
say
right?
about it. Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, and she liked the movie, I thought, as well, or they both did. I wonder.
I mean, I know a lot of crawdad super fans, and it seems like they're mostly really happy with the adaptation. And so that's kind of where I'm at. Is I do want to watch the movie, but being a book person, I want to read the book first.
Yeah, yeah. I don't
Oh,
know.
maybe I'll start that. Hmm.
Caitlin, stuck between a Song of Achilles or Howling Dark for the reading sprints. Caitlin, I know I want to read. I'm going to try and finish the rest of Howling Dark, but I've had Cersei and Song of Achilles behind me for a long time, and those I want to read. And I feel like now that I'm into a little bit of a historical fiction kick, those kind of like myth retellings would kind of be
Ethos, yeah.
nice to fit into. And I've heard a lot about Song of Achilles. I hear that it's quite good, and so it's been on my list for a while. I don't know if you have any of those, but maybe something like that, something
Yeah.
shorter
I
that's
say I
been
don't have either of those, but they're both very like I want to read either or in both of those. Like
yeah.
I need to buy them and a chance to shop.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Dan went out and bought some Con Eagledon. Dan, I wonder what you bought. Did you buy Falcon of Sparta? He also has. I'm coming out with. I'm editing now, in the process of editing a kind of top priority, best of the best, like historical fiction TBR. All the books that
Oh,
I
I
want to
can't wait to
get
watch
to,
that.
and this is kind of what started it. Obviously, Warlord was kind of an introduction, and then I have so many that I've acquired, so many more that I want to read. And Con Eagledon, did a bit of research, and he has a bunch of other series. And I think Conqueror is the one with Genghis Khan and the Mongol invasion of like the 13th, 14th centuries and stuff. And those are supposed to be very good. So I wonder what Dan picked up. But
Yeah,
Blood Meridian,
I know
yeah.
you and I mean, as well as a lot of other people, but we both had such a great experience with Warlord Chronicles.
Oh my God, yeah.
I love that so much, and I have my notes. I'm ready to film a review of the series, just maybe
Yeah.
today, maybe tomorrow. But I've prepared for that, and I'm ready. And it's just gonna be 20 minutes of me being like, like
I
just
know.
love
I
it so
almost didn't.
much.
I wasn't gonna do a review for it because I feel like other people will do it justice, and it's just me gonna be like, it's just me gonna gush, right? Like,
You know what? Like that
um,
is actually something that stops me from doing a lot of reviews. And it's
yeah,
not like I'm not talking down on myself. It's not like, oh, I couldn't do it. But I'm kind of like, I don't know, why would I make a Farseer series review when I could send them Alex's? Like, have you
yeah.
seen Tall Guy Reads review Farseer? It's the best Farseer review I've ever seen.
Yeah,
And so
whenever he
again,
puts out a review, I'm like, well, Alex did it, so I don't have to anymore.
exactly. It's not like, oh,
Yeah,
I can't do it as good. Because first of all, I
yeah.
can't do it as good.
No, he nails it the
But
first
it's
time,
like,
so why
why would
bother?
I
Yeah,
do it when there's already a really good one out there? And so when we have all these friends like Alex and Mike and like these people who are so excellent at reviewing books, I'm just like, there's already a really good
there's
one
a
out there.
couple.
That's
Yeah,
checked off the list.
Mike can just roll, and Mike is so experienced and so polished, and for a number of reasons, and his background and stuff. But he just can run through things one take, like he's talking to a group of people, and it just flows.
Yep,
Alex,
he's the master.
Alex is a dick. I don't know if he scripts or what, but he's so articulate. The words he chooses are
Yes.
perfect. He explains everything in exactly the way that I would hope to, but I would have to write like a
Right.
fucking essay before being able to say that. So like
I'm
he just
telling you, and
runs
so
through
like
it
those two guys are
so
like
good.
they have very different styles when it comes to reviews,
Yeah,
but they're
they
both
do.
so good and so sharp and so
Yeah,
clean and so insightful. And I'm just every time I watch one, I'm like, man, I wish I could talk like that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, No Country for Old Men. Yeah, that's another one that I would try. And James, yes, this is going to be my first McCarthy, so you can appreciate I'm a little bit nervous. Crawdads is great. People like Crawdads. What is this? Oh yeah, anyone reading McCarthy's two new books? Yeah, I heard people talking about it. I heard Barron, I think, talking about it with Nick, Book Meridian. I believe that he has one or two books coming out, and people are going to drop everything and read those because McCarthy has super fans for
Super
sure.
fans, yeah. For sure.
And I'm very curious. Oh, interesting. My wife said the exact same thing. She said the dialogue in Crawdads drove her nuts.
Yeah, I'm nervous about that because
Interesting.
I like dialogue is huge for me.
It is, but I don't think you're going to get stuck on that like for the reasons my wife did. You know, like
Well, and also we have to remember that
'cause
like
you've
I
read
am
more.
a little bit Southern, like
yeah,
and
sure.
and your wife is European, right?
Yeah, she's like British. I mean, she's
Okay,
born
so
here.
like there
but
could just be like a cultural like gap there too, because I'm not
She's
from
pretty-
like Mississippi or Georgia or anything, but like
yeah,
I mean I'm from Oklahoma, so like
Yeah.
I know a little bit about some of the slang and the twang and the drawl and the
Yeah.
you know.
I feel like,
verbiage.
you know, because she's pretty cultured, she's pretty well read. She's pretty good and accepting and has experienced
Yeah.
kind of widely in that way. But I feel like maybe she couldn't quite tell if it was authentic or not, or if it should have been written this way. Like, I don't know. I feel like if she gave it another shot,
Maybe
she'd
I'll
probably
start that one today then.
I think because of what Medic and Steph have said, and because I wanted to read it too, and then she put it down, and I was like, maybe I'll defer it. I think you should grab that.
Here it is.
Yeah, Dan, I'll
Done.
read Howling Dark. I'll continue with Howling Dark for sure. Definitely be joining that. So, yeah, a lot of people are going to jump on that. Yeah. So Penny likes McCarthy too. Interesting. I wasn't sure about that.
I'm definitely excited to get to the road at some point because, like I said, I remember enjoying No Country, but I mean, Blood Meridian was just a huge mess for me.
Yeah, so I'm going to give that a shot. And like I said, I'm going to try something else from him. And I hope you and I can read The Road together. That would be kind of cool. Maybe October. I don't know, because it's supposed to be really dark, kind of scary. Bought War of the Roses trilogy. Stormbird and Trinity, I think, are the first two. Cool. I've heard of that one, but I haven't looked into that one. And I'm hoping to start Eagleton's Conqueror series. Yeah, man. That one is one that's probably the next on my list for Con Eagleton. I think, like I said, that one is what he's quite known for, is that series. But if I'm not mistaken, I think it's like quite a few books. So like Bernard Cornwell, I want to read a ton more from him.
Yeah.
He has the Sharps series, and that one is like 25 books or some shit. It's like it's like so much. So
Yeah, I got is it called Grail Quest?
Grail Quest is another one. Yeah.
So I got the first 3 books. I think it's like a trilogy, and then there's some companion books maybe or something like that. I'm just making this up as I talk. I'm not completely positive. I think it is a trilogy, but for some reason in the read along there's 5 books included. I don't know. All I said was I just signed up for it, which is every time I'm like, I think I'm done doing read alongs. I'm just like, okay, one more. So I think we're starting that in October over on Mike's server. I think Baz is leading that. But
Cool.
I just had such a great experience and a great time with Warlord that I'm ready to start some more corn dogs.
Esme wants your review, so if you could just hurry up and do that, that'd be great. Yeah.
On it, Esme.
Scott says his wife really liked the movie for Crawdads. I don't think she's read the book, or he hasn't read the book. But yeah, I'm curious what you think about that, because Matt, if you like it, I would read it.
Someday.
you like
You're
it, I
very
would read
busy,
it.
Theo. Stop over.
Yeah. I know. I'm gonna read everything with everyone forever. So
Forever, all
yeah.
the time. Always yes.
Yeah, Joanna
Like
just
Jane.
started.
I don't think Jane has ever said no to. If someone has ever walked up to Jane and said, "Do you want to be in a read along with me?" Yes. Will you
It's
buddy
so
read
hard.
this with me? Yes.
Because what I hear when you say that is, "Do you want to be my friend?" And I'm like, 100% I do. I love you.
Yeah, of course.
But
I do.
that's not the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Joanna just started Enemy of God, Warlord 2. I hope, Joanna, I think you enjoyed Winter King from what I remember. If you did, it's just going to get better and better. You're really going to love Enemy of God. That's where a lot of things can happen. And there's a few moments in there that are just perfect. So I
I
hope you
know I
enjoy that
can't.
one.
I have a hard time picking my favorite between Enemy of God and Excalibur. I think I'm gonna land with Excalibur because there's just some high highs in
Yeah.
that book and
Yeah.
some. Again, I know a lot of people. I'm finding that more and more people say that they kind of don't love like battle scenes and skirmishes and duels and fights. They kind of skim over that stuff. But
Hmm.
the way he wrote action, period,
He's
to
excellent.
me was so perfect. It was
And you
not
know,
overly descriptive, and it was just,
no.
but you could see it. It was so cinematic. You could see it in your
You
head.
could see it and you could feel it. It was like you were in the battle. You're like
Yes.
behind the shield. And it's crazy because I was never one for battle scenes. I'm a 35-year-old guy, and I still, in movies, when the battle scenes kind of get out of control, I'm just like, oh my God, like sometimes it cannot be done well. And he just does it so good. And I can see the influence he's had on John Gwynne,
Yeah.
because John Gwynne nails it too. And like in The Fateful and the
Awesome.
Fallen, you just were in the shield wall. Like it was just so cool. You were in that crew, right? And
Yep.
yeah, he just nails it. So, Alex, yeah, just shut up and go make some more awesome reviews and just, whatever, man.
You just
Yeah,
keep being
just Alex.
articulate and
He's
tall and
so he's
handsome.
so
Get out
good.
of here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's everything. He's just the whole package, man. Historical fiction mood 2. Currently reading Joan by Catherine Chen. Only 100 pages in. Already would recommend it to anyone interested in a Joan of Arc story.
Oh,
Cool.
cool. I should
That's.
write that
Well, I
down.
wonder what made you pick that one up. Was that just? Is you said it's short? Did you say it's short? Yeah. I wonder what made you pick that one up. Was that
Write
like
it down.
recommended? Interest. Yeah. Write that one down for sure. What do you all think makes a good review? It's something I really enjoy exploring. Joanna, your reviews are incredible. But I would say, I don't know what makes a good review. I like the fact that everyone has their different styles. So, a good review is definitely subjective, but I think as long as you touch on some of the key points, I like to hear, and again, when I do a review, sometimes I just ramble and I watch it back and I'm like, oh, I didn't do a review how I would want to see a review, but that was my review. But I like to see a little bit of everything, a little bit of the writing, a little bit of the plot, a little bit of the characters. And then I want to know, did you like it? Did you not? What kind of reader might it work for? And if you didn't like it, kind of why? And if you did like it, what did you like the most? What was your feeling? I don't necessarily completely vibe with reviews that leave out the emotion and what the book made you feel, and you know what I mean, the experience of reading it. It was, oh, this was a great book and the writing was good. It's like, yeah, but like, did you like it, and like why?
Yeah. So I think that's actually a great question because
Yeah, it is.
one
It's hard to
reason
answer.
I've only put out like 4 or 5 reviews on my channel, which is
Yeah.
weird, like to have a booktube channel and not review books. But the problem I've had is I wanted my reviews to be authentic
Yeah.
to me and my style.
Right.
And I kind of, like I said earlier, I get caught up thinking like, well, I want to make that review because there already is one that's better. But I have to remind myself that people like to know what I thought about the book. And so I
Yes.
do need to make book reviews because there are people, my lovely friends, that care about my thoughts
Your
and my
opinion.
opinions
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I do want to do more book reviews for that reason. And I find it interesting that I will record a review and I'll watch it back and be like, that's not a review. Like, you're just talking about why you liked it and stuff. But then I'll always inevitably get comments of people complimenting me saying like, I really like how you talk about books. And so I need to
Yep.
remind myself that, like I said, I like watching different types of reviews. Like Mike's
Right.
reviews are excellent and they're different than Johanna's, and Johanna's are different than Alex's. And
Yep.
but I like to hear all their different perspectives. And so when you get a review from me, it's probably not going to like, Alex is so good about like telling you what the book was about without spoiling
100%.
anything.
100.
I
I know.
can't do
I don't.
that.
I don't understand how he does
I
that. Yeah.
can't do
I know.
that. But what I can do is tell you how it made me feel. And like that's again, like to me, it's gonna be like, what kind of emotions did it get from me? Like,
Yeah.
was it something that I thought about when I wasn't holding it? Was it
Yeah.
something that stuck
Yeah.
with me? Was it something that made me feel a certain way? Did it take me back to a time and a place? Like I can tell you more about how it made me feel, but the
That's
thing
what
is,
I love about your reviews. That's what
if
I
you
love. And
want to watch a review that's going to tell you what the book's about, either I can recommend somebody else's or you
Yeah.
can read the back of the book, because that's probably not ever what I'm going to do. But I will tell you about like these are the things I liked, these are the things I didn't like, and how did it make me feel? Because that's more what I care about. Because I'm not a
Yeah.
plot-driven reader. I don't need to know what it was about. if I'm going to pick it up, but I do want to know how it made you feel.
Yeah, to be honest, there's no one that can quite hype a book like you can. Like when you
Oh,
when you get passionate about a book and you really enjoyed it, it just like you exude this like for this book, and I'm just like, okay, I have to read it. And I do trust you implicitly with taste and stuff,
well,
and
and
I
I
think
think
we align a
in the
lot.
past I've struggled with overhyping things, and
Yeah,
that kind of kills me because that's never my intention is to be like this book is perfect and everyone's gonna love it. But I
yeah,
am just so easily I'm not easily excited, but when I get excited about something, I'm excited. And when I'm excited about something, I talk about it. So
yeah,
yes, in every Discord chat and every voice chat, every Zoom call, I'm probably going to talk about it. Not because
yeah.
I think it's perfect or I want to overhype it for people, but because I just talk
You
about
want to
things
share
that
your happiness.
excite
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
So that
yeah,
kind of kills me when people are like, "Oh, well, I got to read this because Madison thinks it's perfect." Like, no, 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 no. Like,
yeah.
don't do that. I just get really passionate when I get excited.
Good. Well, you should. I like it. Diamond is in the middle of two books: Cage of Souls by Tchaikovsky and Artemis by Andy Weir. Trying to decide between these two. I read Artemis. I haven't tried Tchaikovsky. Madison and I were trying to fit in Ogres, which is a little
Mhm.
novella, and we're probably going to fit that in at some point. I think that would be both of our
Yeah.
first Tchaikovsky, and I heard it's excellent. So I can't speak for Tchaikovsky. I love Andy Weir. I didn't, Artemis was like okay. It was fun. It was okay. So I don't know. It depends on how you're enjoying both. But if I had the choice between two and you're enjoying Tchaikovsky, maybe see that one through to the end, because Artemis is always going to be there, and it was good. But like if you're enjoying the other one, maybe see how that ends. Grail Quest was a miss for me. Yeah, I've heard that Bernard Cornwell can be like he's good, but not everything is going to land for everyone.
That's fair.
So but yeah. But Joanna loved Winter King. Awesome.
Yay.
Warlord action scenes. Yeah, man. He's just excellent. And again, and I've said this before and I won't beat, this to death, but the audiobooks are so good. And when Jonathan Keeble reads the battle scenes, you're like it's weird because there's no music, there's no nothing, but you feel like you're watching a
Yeah,
movie.
it's like he
I
gets
don't
out of breath
understand.
almost because he's so
He gets
like
out of breath, he yells, he just escalates and like de-escalates, and he's so perfect. Even you can tell, and I'm not, this isn't a spoiler, but the narrator, Dervil, kind of ages throughout the book. And so when you meet him, he's a little younger. When he finishes up, he's older. When he's narrating it, it's later in his life. And he kind of just, you can tell if you go back, Madison, his voice kind of gets older and changes as he adapts to
masterful.
the character. It's just Oscar worthy for sure.
Yeah.
Please make sure Matthew Corbett series starting with Speaks of the Nightbirds on your historical fiction list. That one was, is it Robert McCam? No, it's Robert McCammon,
Yeah,
right?
it is.
Cool. I did not know that's a historical fiction series. I thought it
I
was
know.
fantasy, Scott.
No, that one's
Oh my
historical
God.
fiction.
So this changes things. So I might have to look into this as more of a priority. I thought it was fantasy. I was like, cool. Like, I didn't know. Oh my God, who is it? Robert McCammon had like a series. That's awesome. But I didn't know it was historical fiction. It's amazing. Promotional message through Goodreads from Hilary Mantel, author of Wolf Hall, and she's saying its praises. I thought it sounded good and decided to give it a go. Interesting. Cool. Yeah, that's not one I would pick up, but interesting. Yeah, my wife would probably like that, to be honest. Not that I wouldn't, but I wouldn't have chose that. That's interesting. When she gets hyped, I'll always consider it. Yeah, Madison has a way. The passion, the passion comes through. It's exactly how I feel about my own reviews. So if you guys haven't heard of James McCullough is a newer booktuber. He's super, super cool. He's become a good friend of mine. We play D&D together now. And he's just such a good dude. His quality of his videos are amazing. He recently did a Empire of Silence review that is really, really good. And I think that was the review that Pippin, his cat, jumped into, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, he's very good, and he's in the sort of film industry. And so if you want to see what a video should look like, go check out his
Nice
videos
looking
because he's
video. I wrote
so
I wrote
good.
his channel down so I can go check it out. Make sure I'm
He's
subscribed.
awesome.
I don't think I am.
Yeah. Yeah. What makes the book technically great, but I can talk for ages about what I loved about it. Yeah. And I think that's honestly, at the end of the day, I feel like more people want that. Like if you were to split it up, it's probably like, a third or maybe even half of what the book is about and kind of what makes it good. And then like half or 2/3 of like how did you feel and why did you like it? Because people relate to you as the person and the reviewer, and they're like, oh, if she likes it, maybe I will. But you can say what makes it technically good, and that doesn't mean a whole lot to people that like you and your taste. So I don't know.
But and then for some people, the technical stuff is really important for them. Like they need to know, like, is this book going to have like layers and themes, and is there like, and that stuff is not necessarily important to me. Like I appreciate it when it's there, and I, I like to read all kinds of books, and so every now and then I like to pick up one that really makes you stop and think and dissect it. But some people, they want to know that in the review, and that's just, I can't do it because my mind doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Mine doesn't work that way naturally. I have to think about what are these themes, what are these points, and Barron is very good at that. And I will say, Joanna, like I go to Joanna and Philip Chase when I'm looking for somebody to dissect something in a way that I wish I could.
Yes.
And it's not to say that they don't talk about what makes it fun. Philip talks about heart all the time and, emotion and all this stuff, and Joanna too, but they can nail that other thematic stuff in a way that like, I just can't.
And
so
that's
I
why
need to go to them for stuff.
watching those videos. Like those are the videos that I love to watch because I'm like, they are saying in words what I felt when I was reading it, but I could never articulate that. But I love their videos for that reason, because I have my own thoughts in my head. That's why you watch other people's videos, is so you can, you can be a part of the conversation. So
they catch things that I'm too stupid to catch. I'm like, oh yeah, that's totally a thing that was in there. Like, yeah, definitely.
You're right.
yeah. Like there's some John Gwynne books that are very heavy in themes that I didn't necessarily, when I sit down and I thought about it, slavery and racism and caste systems and all these sort of things. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, that's totally in there, but it kind of went over my head a little bit, or it's not something that I think about.
Right.
But it's nice when somebody can, for sure. Pippin is already more famous than I am. Yeah, his cat kind of crashed his party on that video, and he's the cutest cat. It's so funny. So go check out James if you can.
I will.
Scott, forgive me because I didn't watch this because I didn't want to really, well, I guess it's non-spoiler, but I didn't really want to know too much about it. So I skipped that one, and I was going to go to it when I had time to make room for that series. But I think now, knowing what it is a little bit more, thank you, I think I am going to go and watch that through to the end. I think I started watching it. I may have even commented, but I don't think I watched the whole thing because I'm like, I don't have time for this yet. So I'm going to go back and see what that one was all about.
I know, but you're on a historical fiction kick right now. So now it's...
Yeah. And again, I don't want it to be construed as though I'm going to be like this historical fiction booktuber for the next few months, but I'm definitely, every month I want to try and fit something in. Alan from Library of Alexandria and I were talking, and he's going to, because him and I, he wants to read this as well. We bonded last night over the fact that we both have the same like folio edition of like the Greek myths and all this kind of stuff, and we were chatting, and he's going to end up reading the Cicero trilogy with a group of people later this year, probably at the tail end or beginning of next year. And the first book of this one is Imperium. And I first got alerted to this video by Alex, Tall Guy Reads, has this excellent historical fiction video. Historical fiction for fantasy readers. If you like fantasy, if you like, this type of genre or whatever, or even like thrillers and stuff, go check out these videos or these books. And I think there were like 6. And Imperium is the first one, and it was the first Cicero book. And he marketed it as like, it follows, I think, Marcus Cicero, this like Roman statesman during the Roman Empire. And I think it's more during the fall of the Roman Empire. And it's told through the narration, first person narration of his servant or secretary, Tyro. And apparently it's like a thriller, like it's a fast-paced thriller book set in ancient Rome, which I was like, fuck yeah, I'm reading this 100%.
I'm like, I'm writing so many things down. What did you say it was called again?
It's called Imperium is the first book. The rest of the other 2 I don't remember, but it's the Cicero trilogy.
So my husband and I are watching the show Rome, the HBO.
I want to. I haven't yet, but I want to.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
I know. I'm saving it for my wife.
There are things about it that like aesthetically haven't aged super well, just because TV has gotten better. Like, duh.
Yeah, totally.
So some of the costuming, some of the sets look a little bit like costumes, look a little bit like sets, but that's a budget thing. Like, this show paved the way for Game of Thrones, and then Game of Thrones
Wow.
earned their budget. But otherwise, like the acting and the writing is so good. So definitely watch Rome. I am so like we are loving it. It's very good.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's one that in fact, I forgot about it. I heard somebody talking about it. In fact, it might have been you and maybe a group. But I'm like, oh, Natasha, like, do you want to, we should watch this. And we tried to find it and we couldn't. Then eventually we found it and we haven't started it yet. So it's on the list. We're always looking for new stuff to watch. So I can't wait. That
That's a
one will
good
be
one.
good.
We're only
Yeah.
doing a couple episodes a week just because of schedules
Cool.
and stuff, but it's good.
Cool. Cool. Are they long episodes? No.
Yeah, they're like, hour long, like HBO episodes.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, yeah. Cool. Well, that's something to keep an eye out for sure. What did you settle on? Are you going to read Crawdads?
I think I'm going to start Crawdads. And that way I can kind of let you
Cool.
know
Cool.
what I think
Okay.
when we
Yeah,
ready to read.
let's do it. I think I can make like a banner or something here. I'll just say we're sprinting till. Do you want to do like maybe half an hour?
Yeah, let's do 30 minutes.
Okay. Let's do till 45.
I'm going to read and eat my snack, so I'll mute myself so you don't have to hear me chewing.
Yeah. All right.
So you're for sure doing Howling Dark?
I'm gonna do Howling Dark. I wanna wrap this up and find out what's going on because it just took a turn where I'm like, holy shit, what is happening? So
Got you hooked.
yeah, so let's do it. We'll see you guys back here in a bit. If you're reading, enjoy. I wonder if Madison can hear me. Maybe.
I can hear you.
Sweet. How far did you get?
Let's see. I
I'm
read
curious.
28 pages.
Have you gotten to some dialogue yet?
Yeah, no.
Yeah?
It's,
What are you thinking?
I see what she's saying. Visually, it's kind of distracting
Gotcha.
because nothing is spelled
Correctly. Yeah.
Um,
But is it
so
done well? Is it done authentically? And like, can you
I
read,
think
like, does
so.
it help
I
your
mean,
reading? Yeah.
like this family literally lives in a shack in a swamp in the
Yeah.
1950s. So
So
I
I get
mean,
it. Yeah.
I like the parents can't read, like the girl can't count, like so like they are very, very like uneducated backwater in the 1950s.
Yeah.
So I think it
Gotcha.
feels authentic, but I can see how on audio it might work even a little better. Hearing it told to you versus reading it, because there's a lot of apostrophes and a lot of things that are just spelled phonetically rather than how. So to the eyes, it is a little jarring. So I can definitely
Yeah.
see what you're saying.
Yeah. I'd be curious to see. I wonder if the audiobook is on Scribd or Scribed, or if it's, because if it is, I would try it.
I think it is.
Yeah. I'd be curious to see what it sounds
I
like.
want to say that it is, because when I was kind of planning to read this, I always kind of look ahead to be like, do I need to put a library hold on this, or is it going to be on Scribd? But I might stay eyes only, because like I said, I don't dislike it, but I definitely see what she's saying. It's kind of jarring. You kind of have to reread it, read it twice to go, okay, that's what they're saying. And I don't necessarily, when I'm reading physically, I don't like say the words in my head.
Right.
I just like look at them and know them. Like some people really like audibly like read to themselves in their head, but I'm just kind of like I take it in chunks. Yeah. It's weird. But
I try not to, I forget what it's called, internal vocalize,
dialogue, like internalize
whatever.
the narration.
Yeah, I try not to do that. I try and just kind of, but I can see when something's really technical or when something's written with a bit of a different twist. You can't really do that. You kind of have to like sound things out a little bit. Yeah. Yeah.
So no, but I think it's going to be good. Like it's already super depressing. So
really, that
so
quickly?
it's good.
Oh, geez.
Well, in the first page, the mom like leaves her family.
Oh, well, that's
so it's like this horrible, abusive, non-existent dad in the 50s, and then all these kids, and she just leaves. And this isn't, I don't think this is a spoiler, because this all happens in like the first like 3 or 4 pages. And then this little girl is 6, and all of her siblings up and leave too, like one at a time. They're just like peace out also, because it's like survival of the fittest. Like that's just what you do. And this little 6-year-old girl is basically left to fend for herself. So it's pretty sad.
Oh no. Yeah, I wonder. My wife did want to try to watch the movie because she thought that would be better, and I wonder if I should try and read it before we do that, or just watch the movie, and if I like it, maybe read the book. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Interesting.
Now that I'm already, 30 pages in, I think I'll just go ahead and finish it up and then treat myself with the movie afterwards.
Yeah, totally. You have to read it with a Southern accent.
Yeah, that helps. That helps.
Yeah.
How was Howling Dark?
Yeah, it's good. It's right in. I left off right kind of near the end of a chapter, and it's like in a part where like I don't know what they're gonna do. They're kind of screwed right now. So I'm not sure what they're going to do, but I think I'll spend today. I have a bunch of stuff. We're going to probably like an hour away to go babysit our nephew and do some other stuff. And so today's a little bit busy. So I wonder if I also have to edit a video. So I wonder how far I'll get. I'm hoping to finish it, but I'm excited. I'm excited now for the end, for the very end. So
yeah, you're going to like it.
Yeah.
How old is your nephew?
He's like 8. He's 8 right now. So
cool.
Yeah. It's my sister-in-law and their family. So yeah, and actually it's at their place that we got married. We got married at their place. They have a beautiful house with a beautiful landscaped yard. Yeah, they have like a putting green on there, like it's that type of place. And
Fancy.
so it's just a really, yeah, and so it'll be kind of nice to go back there. We haven't been there back there really since the wedding, I don't
Oh
think, which is like
wow.
a year ago now. Yeah. Usually they come out here and we see people because her family's out here as well.
Mhm.
They're kind of the ones that are a little bit further. So yeah, that'll be good. What's on the plan for you today? Do you have time to read for the most of the day or what?
Yeah, I'm good. So I did a video. I'm calling it an interview, but
Hmm.
I chatted the other night with Scott from the Bald Booktuber and
Sweet.
AR Witham, who wrote The Legend of Blackjack, and that was like 2 hours long. And so I'm trying to trim it down a little bit. So I'm doing
Yeah.
some editing today, and then like I said, I really want to record that Warlord Chronicles review.
Yeah.
I'll either do that today or tomorrow. But we have our patron Zoom call with Mike
Yeah, I'm
at
excited.
3. So I have a really fun day with
Yeah.
friends, just hanging out with the kids. So not much on the docket. So I don't know how much more of this I'll get read today because I've got some other stuff to do too. But
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
glad I started it.
Good. Is it keeping you like wanting to read more? Like,
Yeah.
is it, did you read
Yeah,
enough to
no,
like
the
want to? Yeah.
chapter I just got to, there's a time jump and then there's like a dead body. So
Is it? I think I remember hearing. So is this like 19 whatever 50s like you said, and then present day, or does she
well,
actually wake up kind of? And I don't want to spoil it, but
no, I'm not sure actually because it started in the early 50s and then there was a time jump to 1969 and it looked like the movie was set in some more like modern times maybe. So
mhm,
there's probably going to be another time jump, but we'll see. I'm only like I said about 28 pages in. So
sweet. Yeah. It is crawdads, guys. Yeah, and nice to see you too, medic. What's up?
hey, buddy.
Yeah, sweet. We had Matt here too and Chadia. That's awesome.
Oh, cool.
Anything Reese Witherspoon produces is usually pretty close to the book. Yeah. Was this part of her book club
Yeah.
thing? Is
I
that
think
where this
she was
came up
kind of
from?
responsible for blowing it up, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's got her sticker on it and
Oh yeah,
everything.
cool. Yeah, I hate those stickers. Actually, the book club
I
ones are not bad, but
Well,
it's the
and it's
movie
like
ones
I
that I
really
hate.
don't mind if back in the day when they would put a real sticker on it because if you're
Mm,
careful, you can take a real sticker off,
yep.
and there's an art to that, and I actually kind of love it. It's really satisfying. Use a hair dryer and like a straight razor and just like slice it off. It's really
Yeah.
really satisfying. So I don't.
Yeah.
I wish they would go back to putting stickers on them because these printed stickers just drive me nuts.
I know. Yeah, it's funny because a couple years ago when I started rereading fantasy and stuff and going back and trying to catch up, I bought a couple books and I would buy like the movie ones or the TV show covers or whatever. And then very quickly after I'm like, "Oh, like that's not what you're supposed to do." And also I was like, "Well, I kind of stopped liking them. Like I never liked them. I just thought, "Oh, those were the ones that are most recent. Like I'll just
Sure.
buy those cuz they're on the shelf." And yeah, I just very quickly started to get turned off by them too, which is I think probably common, but
Yeah, I mean, I guess it probably is a little bit snobbish of us because the books are the same inside. But if you have a choice between something that is maybe a little more artistic or
yeah.
it was what the author hopefully envisioned, and then you get
Yeah,
one that has like, you know, Bradley Cooper on the front or something, it's
I
just
know.
not as
I
aesthetically
know.
pleasing.
I know. And especially if one of them is like if it mixes up your set, like I know with your Wayward Pines one, you wanted to kind of replace that.
Yes.
That can drive me nuts too, for sure. Yeah.
I want them to again, like I like a bargain more than I
Yeah.
care about looks, especially because I know like if I really like this book, I can always upgrade it later. So if I'm
Yes.
at the
Yeah.
used
Yeah.
bookstore and I find something that was already on my radar and it's like $4, I'm like, it's not the prettiest book, but it will get it read. And then if I love it, I can always find something nicer in the future. So I do that a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. Yeah. And Matt, you are right. Matt was like, "Are we just watching them read?" I mean, you can read too. The idea is like we were going to read anyway, so might as well have a quick chat and talk to you guys a little bit and read a little bit. And if you guys were going to read, you'd have some company too to get a little bit of, some chapters in and stuff. But
And I also think reading
um
sprints are great for people who are wanting to get back into reading because it kind of like puts you on the spot and it makes you say like, hey,
you have a timer.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
listen to these friends talk and I'm gonna like participate in the comments and you kind
Yeah.
of feel included and stuff. But then it also makes
Yeah.
you say like, I'm gonna put my timer on and I'm gonna read for 30 minutes no matter
Yeah.
what.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
I'm telling you, for people who are as distractible as me when it comes to eyes only reading, I find it kind of helpful sometimes to set a timer and go, no matter
Yeah.
what, you're gonna read for 30 minutes and see what
Yeah.
happens.
And I agree, Matt, that is kind of the hard part is knowing that you have a timer you can't necessarily line that up with a end of a chapter, or maybe you want to keep, continue or whatever. I always sort of feel like, and I haven't done many of these, but I enjoy them. And I would do these alone as well, just because it gives people an opportunity to hop in and join or talk or whatever. And I'm going to read anyway, like I said, but I feel like anything longer than maybe 30, 45 minutes is just too long to sprint, and also too long to maybe participate with and just to watch and hang out. Right. So I feel like, yeah, 30 minutes is probably a good little sprint. I don't know. Caitlin got pulled away because of her kids, but I don't know if we're going to do another one. We probably will do another one, but I'd like talking to Madison so much that we end up just kind of chatting. So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, part of Reese's book club. I think her book club is actually pretty popular. Like, I think she has some good picks. And yeah, she's been responsible for blowing up a bunch of books, I think. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, the kids are, yeah. I don't have kids yet. And somebody asked me the other day, this is probably getting too personal, but somebody asked me the other day if we're thinking about it. I'm 35. My wife is turning 35 this year. And we've been married for a year this month. We've been together for years now. And we're at that point where we're like thinking of starting a family and stuff. And so probably in the next year or two, we'll have hopefully a mini Theo running around, which is probably the last thing the world needs, but it's gonna it's gonna happen.
No, more Theos all around. It can only be good.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get as many, as many videos in and as many friends and time with them and books in as I can before I become a dad, which is kind of ridiculous to even say out loud because I'm still a child. So yeah.
Well, it makes you feel better, like, you don't have to be a grown-up to have kids. It's like, because it's weird when you get older. Like, I remember being a teenager or a tween even, and adults that I thought were like ancient, which I look back and they were technically like the age I am now.
Crazy.
They would say stuff about how like you don't really age in your head. And I'm like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And then now I'm 36 and I'm like, oh, no.
No, I feel true. Exactly the same as
I feel exactly the same.
What the thing that trips me out the most, and you and I are same group, same age pretty much, is when you watch these shows you grew up watching and you are now older than like the parents in the show.
That's freaky, right?
Yeah, like we're older than like the dads in Full House, and we're older than like the parents in like, Boy Meets World or something. Like that's going to get crazy to me, right? Because like to me, I was watching, like Saved by the Bell, and these high school kids were like 25 years old in my head. But like very quickly, you're like way older than all these people. And it's such a trip. It's weird. It's very, I don't know, disorienting. Like it's very weird. It's crazy. I dread the time where we're going to be older than like most people that we used to watch. That's going to be crazy.
Wild.
I get distracted too. Yeah, sprints are good for, like we said, when you can get a little bit distracted, or if you need someone to just kind of help you, stick on plan. Because I'm like that too. I'll read a chapter and then I'll go and make a coffee and then I'll read another couple pages and I'll be like, oh, I wonder what's going on. For me, what's your biggest distraction when you're reading? Like, is it the phone? Is it
my phone?
Kids? Yeah.
My phone.
Mine's the phone too.
I wish I was not so addicted to my phone. And I do sometimes will like plug it in another room and then go to, across the house and sit down and read for a bit. And that works well. But unfortunately, if it's in the same room as me, I will catch myself just like subconsciously just picking it up and checking. And I'm terrible at that. So my phone is the biggest distraction for me. And then obviously kids and stuff, but it's mostly me.
Yeah. Mine is too. I think, I watch these videos sometimes on, how to read more, in a year, or how to read faster, or how to whatever. And one of those tips is always just try not to be distracted, right? Schedule a time, read something you enjoy, and then put away the phone. And I feel like I'm going to have to start doing that more and more for sure. Because I know that it'll be there. And I know that I'm always going to have these chats and these whatever. And that stuff can be scheduled too. And hop on the Discords and all that stuff. But the just mindless checking, like, oh, I wonder what's new on Instagram or whatever, can get crazy.
I know, it gets me.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. I appreciate it. Our anniversary is the 28th. So it's and actually, I think I mentioned it in my update. We're leaving on the 28th on our anniversary in the evening to go about 4 hours away so my wife can do like this practicum for the next 5 days during that week. And so we're going to be away, and I'm going to be working remotely, so it's not going to be a thing, but we're going to make time to maybe go out for dinner and do our own thing. Then maybe when we're back, we'll take a couple days to ourselves and go for a little trip or whatever. So yeah, thanks, Caitlin. Yeah, I don't know. Best of luck. Yeah, if we're lucky enough to have a kid, I think that's probably going to happen sooner than later. Right now, we're just practicing, as I like to say. So
that is so exciting, though.
Yeah.
Like the thing that's I think there's two sides to it, and part of me wishes I had waited till like your age, till our age, because there's so much life you got to live kid free. But the other part of me, I mean, I didn't have kids incredibly young. Like I wasn't like a 16-year-old mom or something, but I had my first one when I was 25.
Yeah, young-ish.
And it's kind of nice to look ahead and go, I can kind of see the finish line, you know, like it's not like it's right around the corner, but it is kind of nice to be like, well, got started early, and then we're going to have that season of life freed up as well. So I don't know. I think there's no 100%. Wrong way to do it. And I think there's pros and cons to every which way.
There are. You know, the biggest consideration for me is her parents are a little bit older. They had her, she's the youngest out of two, and there's a bit of a gap between her and her sister. And so her dad is a little bit older than most of her peer group and stuff. And my parents are a little bit older as well. For example, how old are your parents? We're like the same age, I think, right? How old are your parents?
Yeah, my mom had me when she was 20. So my mom is 55.
Okay.
And my dad's 5 years older than her. So my parents are 55 and 60.
Okay. So so I'm 35 and my parents are 73 and 74.
Okay.
So quite a bit older than most of my friends and stuff. And one big consideration for me is always I wanted my grandparents to be able to enjoy having time with my kids. And I didn't really have grandparents. Both sets of my grandparents were in Greece. And I never met one of my grandfathers. My other grandmother, I met her like twice when I was very young in Greece. Both my dad's parents lived quite long, and I saw them a couple times, very rarely. And so I never really, I'd speak to them on the phone and speak a little bit of Greek and that kind of stuff. But I never got to go to like my grandparents' house for the weekend and hang out.
Yeah.
They would spoil me when I was there, but it was like literally I've met them probably twice,
wow.
Which is not cool. And so I want my parents to enjoy grandkids, and I want my grandkids to have that experience with their grandparents, right? So that was... I'm like, I don't want them to be too old to enjoy them. I don't, so it's one of those things. It's not me. It's really my parents. I don't want them to be too old to enjoy. So,
well, that's definitely something to consider. And I think that's thoughtful, because like you want your parents to have that, you want to give them grandkids, and like, because they've earned it.
Yeah. Matt, that is kind of weird. I was thinking about that the other day, actually, not the other day, a little while ago. My mom's side of the family, they have some medical things, and like both my mom's parents didn't live past their kind of mid 60s. And so my mom right now has what's classified as stage 4 cancer. She got cancer the second time. She kind of beat it the first time. 7 years later, it came back, and it's only stage 4 because of how like the tumors and stuff are small, but it's because of how far away from the center that they've spread and stuff. Okay. And so it's under control. It sounds terrible, but it's under control. But she's now like 10 years older than both her parents ever got to be. And so I'm thinking about that, and I'm like, oh my God, like she's older now than my grandparents got to be. Like that to me is kind of crazy. And of course, in North America, we have a good medical system. In Canada, we're able to kind of get what we need done. And my mom has access to things and everything's okay. And of course, technology's come a long way. When my grandfather got cancer way back in the day, they didn't even like really know what it was. It's come an awful long way, but it is weird to think about. And there will come a time when we're going to be older than our parents got to be, maybe. And that will be weird. But yeah, that's interesting, Penny. Yeah, I know that can be a bit of a shock. We were talking about being older than people on TV. Can you imagine being older than your parents got to be? That is crazy. So I have this personal story. So my parents are going to Greece next month. They haven't been in 20 years, maybe. Wow. So they're going to take care of some personal stuff, some, accounts, and they're getting older. They're putting some affairs in order and stuff, and seeing their family, like their siblings and stuff, probably for the last time. So just because it costs a lot to go and time and stuff. And both my parents have health issues that prevent them from traveling without expensive insurance and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So they're going next month. And in order to prepare, I had to take my dad to the Greek consulate, Greek embassy down here to file some paperwork and stuff and send some stuff to Greece in anticipation of him going. And when we went, I forgot where I was going with this story. We went to the Greek consulate. This was a funny story. Oh yeah. So we went and the lady's like, oh, we just need your ID, like whatever ID you would tell the bank. There's an ID like number. And so like a government ID, think about it that way. And so he pulls it out and the lady starts laughing and she's like, oh, like, sir, in Greek, right? She's like, sir, like, don't you have anything from when like there wasn't like a king of Greece? Like, don't you have anything from the democracy? And his ID, in the ID, he's like 25 years old. I'm 35. My 74-year-old dad pulls out an ID where he's 25 years old and there was a king of Greece. And like, she's like, I don't know if they're going to accept this. And he's like, oh yeah, it should be fine. She's like, well, when you go there, maybe like get a new ID.
Get a new one,
and I'm thinking, and I'm looking at this picture and he's like 10 years younger than I am right now. And it's just crazy to think of my dad as a 25-year-old. Yeah, super funny.
It is.
Yeah. No finish line with kids. I don't have them, but I can see that with my parents. Yeah. Hi. Yeah. Kalimera, Matt. Thank you, man. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. Cancer can be rough. I've been fortunate. My mom is 73, stage 4 cancer, pre-diabetic, healthy otherwise. Like you wouldn't be like, oh, this woman like has stuff. Like, no.
Sure.
Works full time, takes care of my dad who's like forced into retirement because of his disabilities and diabetes and all that kind of stuff. And my mom, 73, works full time, stage 4 cancer. She's like, no, like I'm good. I still feel good. Like I'm still gonna do my thing. I'm like, what? Like
just that generation is they're such badasses. Like my grandmother is in her early 80s.
Yeah.
And she is a nurse. She's been a nurse for 60 years. Yeah. And she still works.
Try and tell them not to.
Full time, but she does home health.
Yeah.
So she goes into people's homes and administers their like insulin and diabetes medications and stuff like that because she like specializes in diabetes care. And she always says she's going like, so we'll be there on the weekends and she's like, all right, well, I got to go give all the old people their shots. And I'm like, Mimi, you are old.
It's
and
crazy,
some of your patients are like a decade and a half younger than you. She's always like, I got to go give the old people their shots.
That's so funny. Yeah. And for my mom too, it's a social thing and it keeps her,
same.
Mentally kind of sharp and keeps her relationships and all. She's like, well, what am I going to do? Like, I'm just going to be with your dad all day. Like we're tired, right?
For the old Mimi, she needs to get out of the house and she's tried retiring a few times and it never lasts very long at all.
No, Matt, you're right. Yeah. Try and tell an old Greek person not to do what they want to do. It is not going to fly. But as long as they're happy, like my parents are a little old school. We didn't grow up with a whole lot. My parents both immigrated here with basically, you hear, the clothes on your back kind of thing. And that was basically it. They, what was I going to say? I'm having like mind blanks today. I don't know what I was going to say, but yeah, they just, I tried basically what I was going to say was I tried to pay for them to go on a vacation because they have never been on a vacation. We never went on vacations as when I was younger. Like I said, we went back to Greece like twice. That was because once when I was younger, we tried to move back. My parents said, no, we like Canada. Second time was when my grandparents on one side were not doing very well. Mm-hmm. So I tried to pay for them to go. I'm like, let's just go, the three of us, or even my wife or whoever. I'll pay for all of us to go to Hawaii. Let's just go. You guys are getting older. You guys are sick. Like you guys are going to retire soon. Let's just go enjoy. And they're like, no.
Memories.
I don't want to go anywhere. I like, being local and being home and I don't want you to spend money and I don't want to spend money and blah, blah, blah. And so they find these reasons, these grumpy old Greeks just to like not go enjoy themselves. And I guess it's because they don't want to put anybody else out. Right. But I'm just trying to get them to enjoy their lives. They're getting to that age where they're at that age where you're not going to be around forever. Just enjoy your life a little bit. And they're just stubborn. So,
well, maybe here's something I've consistently heard from every grandparent I've ever like had this conversation with. They always say having grandkids changes you.
Yeah, like, I hear that.
It will. Yeah. And so I mean, like, you might be surprised at how they completely,
Yeah.
you're like, who are these people? Like, how come I
Yeah.
never saw this side of you? And not just like nicer or no, I'm just saying it just changes them.
Yeah.
Like
I've heard that a couple times.
Matt's parents, especially, like, it softened them up so much. And they are
Wow.
like, it's funny, Matt and his siblings all the time will be like, who
Who
are
are these
these
people?
people? Like, we like them, don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
like, and
Yeah.
it's
Where
not
were
that they're
they?
big softies. It's just it changes their perspective on everything. And I think parenting changes you, but it's
Yeah.
like a necessity thing. Like, you change because your whole world changed. But when you get to
Yeah.
change, from a parent to a grandparent, it's like a recreational change. You get to do it for the fun of it, I think. So it'll be
That's the
interesting
thing. Yeah.
to kind of like to see that change in them from your perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I bet you they're gonna be like, oh, let's take them to do this, or like, why don't you go do this and plan this and do that? And it's like, well, we never did any of that. Like, why
Yeah.
all of a sudden, right? Like, yeah, I guess it's because they get, they're older. They will have lived a lot longer, had a lot of experience, have a different perspective, and like you said, you get a redo, you get kind of
Hmm.
a fun redo, and now it doesn't really matter because you're not on the hook, so you can just get the fun part, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to be
But
a grandparent before I'm a father. I think being a grandparent would be fun. Being a dad is
I
going to be
know.
stressful. Yeah, yeah,
And I'm looking forward to it.
yeah,
But I'm not.
yeah.
I don't encourage any of my kids to have, be in a rush to have kids. But
No,
I think I could be a cool grandma.
totally. You'd be a cool guy. You're probably a cool mom, I think, right?
Totally.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Diamond's Greek too, and can totally confirm old Greek people just don't care about their health. Yeah, they care about a lot of other things. Health is not front and center for sure. Yeah, it's whatever. I mean, European people are with their diet and stuff like that. Like they're not unhealthy, but they're once things happen, they don't care, or they care about other people and other people's health. Like my parents will care about my health, and I'm like, you guys have some stuff, like you guys need to figure it out. And they're like, oh no, we're fine,
I
we're gonna die
do.
soon anyway. Like, oh, okay, well, that's good. Yeah, what should we do? Should we do another quick sprint? Do we have things we got to do? What should we do?
It's up to you. I'm just hanging out. I'm chilling.
I think we'll do another sprint maybe, and then we'll call it. I think it's been really nice chatting to people. I think we'll do another sprint if people are still around and want to read a couple chapters or a couple pages, whatever.
Cool.
That's cool. Yeah, let's get this set up and see if I can't
I'll be
do
right back.
this.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
sprint.
Yeah, I think we'll do another half hour, maybe just informally. We'll go to like 45 after the hour. And yeah.
So Lucy is here. I don't know if you can see her. She's gonna sprint with us. Oh, she's on the floor.
Yo, yo, yo.
Yo, yo.
So Austin hopped on here and started talking shit, and then he was like, "Oh yeah, maybe I should maybe I should join in because distractions are a thing for sure." See, that's why we do this, because it's kind of nice to hang out with some people and then sprint for a little bit and not to be distracted. Definitely, that's good.
Yeah, I still managed to get a little distracted.
Yeah, it happens. So Lucy's reading. Who was Frank Lloyd? Frank Lloyd. Wait, who? What? Who was
Frank
Frank
Lloyd
Lloyd
Wright.
Wright?
He's an architect. And
Interesting.
like you can look up his work. He's very famous. And what's really interesting about him, in my opinion, is he only built a handful of buildings in the United States, and 3 of them are in my hometown of Bartlesville, Oklahoma. He built his only skyscraper, which is not really a skyscraper, but it's a
Interesting.
really tall
Yeah.
hotel,
Yeah.
and a Lutheran church, and he built a home there. So there's 3 Frank Lloyd Wright buildings in my hometown, and the
Wow.
rest of them are in like New York City and France or whatever.
That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, so in one of them, her uncle, my brother, he works there at the Price Tower.
Interesting. Very
Yeah.
cool. That's awesome. Yeah, it does help Medic. I wonder if Medic's reading with us or he's just stopping by being cool. He says he loves Frank Lloyd Wright. Falling Water was my favorite work of his. Interesting.
Yeah, you should look up Frank Lloyd Wright, and probably Falling Water will be the first thing to pop up. But also look
Yeah.
at the Price Tower, because that's in my hometown.
I'm
No,
gonna
he's
check
an
that out.
interesting fella. So,
Yeah.
and she's switched. She's reading Roald Dahl now. She's reading George's
Cool.
Marvelous Medicine. Yeah, George's Marvelous Medicine.
Cool. That's awesome. Hey Shad, what's up? Thanks for joining us. Matt says, yeah, amazing. Apparently a super difficult person, but an amazing creator. I got to check this guy out. That's pretty cool.
She loves those Who. It's a series called, not a series, but like I don't know. It's called the Who Was, and so they just take all these, famous or interesting people and write biographies that are really, really consumable and easy to read, but like really good. And so she has a ton of those Who Was books, and it's great though, because now she knows all about, Benjamin Franklin and Bob Marley and like all kinds of people. It's really cool.
That's very cool. That's awesome. Diamond. So my parents are my mom is from Piraeus, and my dad is from. My dad grew up in Athens, in Marousi, in Athens, but his family was and still is in Sparta. And so, yeah, that's kind of where they're from. But my mom grew up in Piraeus and went to school there and stuff. They came here when they were in their like mid 20s. So they were in Greece till they were 25, and now they're 73 and 74. So they've been here an awful long time. So they're Canadian for sure by now. But yeah, most of my family is there. So interestingly, I'm basically the only one who was like born here. My parents moved here. Their family is still there. I have first cousins there. My dad's an only child. I'm an only child. I don't have a whole lot of family, but what I do have is still there. So for the most part.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder where, Diamond, are you in Greece or are you Greek but here? Are your parents Greek? Like where are you from? Like what's the background there? Yeah, I'd be curious to hear what everyone else is reading as well. Second book, Black Iron Legacy.
I don't know that.
Interesting. I don't know that one either. Maybe I'll check that one out.
I know. I gotta write it down.
Wonder who that's by. Black Iron Legacy. Yeah, it's funny. Every time we do something like this, or every time I watch a video, I'm writing a bunch of stuff on the TBR, and it just can't keep up with it. But whatever. Been there a few times.
Iron Legacy. Gareth Ryder. Hanrahan. I haven't heard of this.
Yeah. What is it about, Madison? Do you have it up there?
I have it up on Goodreads, so I'm gonna just kind of flip around.
Yeah.
The first one is called The Gutter Prayer.
Cool.
The Shadow Saint and the Broken God. Interesting. I'm gonna leave it up on Goodreads so I can check it out later.
Cool. 1 to 3 hours from Athens. Interesting. Yeah, I live in Greece. Entire family's Greek. Yeah, my dad basically still has his family his parents' place in Marusi, which is probably, I think it's like 20 minutes away from the Acropolis. Like I think it's like basically very close to like down like to Athens. I didn't finish Howling Dark, Caitlin. I'm getting very close, and I'm really enjoying this last bit. I'm getting there, and I think I'll be able to wrap this up pretty quick. So I would say, yeah, we have Mike's kind of patron chat and stuff. We all get together once a month and chat and hang out. It's always a good time. So that's going to happen in a couple hours. I'll probably, when we get off this, I'll make some breakfast and relax, make another cup of coffee, and probably finish Howling Dark. So I'm excited.
Cool.
The Darkness That Comes Before, because of Steve and Jimmy. Yeah, I know that title, The Darkness That Comes Before. What is
Is that Backer? I think I have that.
I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I can't. I just get, there's so many books to remember, and they all have such cool titles, and I get them, like, is it the book title? Is that the series title? Like, I always get everything confused, but I'm pretty sure I own that book. I think it's Backer.
Yeah, cool. Steampunkers, lots of alchemy, some elements of horror, pretty exciting, dark, almost all in one city. That's pretty cool. That actually sounds kind of neat.
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh yeah, R. Scott Baker. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I believe he's Canadian, because I always talk about how all these all these authors are Canadian. Like Stephen Erickson is Canadian, and Guy Gabriel Kay is Canadian, and R. Scott Baker is Canadian. I'm pretty sure.
I think Nicholas Eames is Canadian.
Yes, he is. Yeah, there's a bunch actually. It's kind of cool.
And there's a ton of Canadian booktubers too. Like not just you, but like there's a lot of people that I like really like their channel and admire them. Canadian. Yeah. Good people.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. I always say that Jake Bishop, like I live about 40 minutes away from him, so we got to get together at some point.
When are you guys gonna hang out?
I don't know. Soon. I'll have to reach out to him. He has a pretty interesting taste for books, and so we overlap a little bit. I would say if there's like a Venn diagram and like there's the center, we overlap a little bit, but we definitely have our own kind of things.
Yeah.
And so that'd be an interesting conversation. We should even just go and crush a beer and just kind of see where we're at, because it'd be nice to meet him in person. And
I
actually,
want you guys to do a video, but like
a collab.
To get like not like this side by side, literally
in the same place. Wouldn't it be cool if it'd be cool if he like did his next video from here and I did my next video from like his bedroom. That'd be kind of cool.
Do it.
Yeah. I'm going. So when I said I was going to Kamloops for this work thing, that's like 4 hours away from here, and I'm pretty sure Jay from Captured in Words lives in either Kelowna or Kamloops. They're kind of close-ish to each other. They're probably like an hour away. I'm not sure, but I'm going to be very, very close to Jay when I go up there. So that's kind of where he is. He's in the interior of our province, a few hours away from me. Yeah.
Have you ever met online friends in person before?
No. You know what? I don't have a whole lot of online friends. I know that you are loved and revered by a ton of people online, and you have tons of different online communities. I've
had several online communities throughout my adult life, just through like parenting communities, and I am into like holistic wellness and that kind of stuff, and I have a lot of different interests and stuff, and so I do have online communities that I've been a part of for a long time, and I've been able to meet several internet friends that have become some of my closest, best in real life friends.
That's really cool.
And it's always such a treat to meet somebody that you really do know, like really intimately, and like they're true friends, and to meet them in person is really fun. And so like that's why I always say, like, you know, you guys that I've met through BookTube and through just the book community, like some of you guys are like my best friends, and like I just look forward to the day that we get to meet in person.
I can't wait.
I know it's gonna happen, Theo. I'm gonna hug you someday.
I can't wait. Yeah, and it's funny because it's a weird thing that happens, because we obviously have our, you know, real life crew and community and friends and stuff, but I feel like, you know, when you have these friends that live nearby, you know that you can see them whenever. But I feel like with online communities, there are times when I would argue we talk more than I would do with my in real life friends. And I feel like it can be the case that you end up knowing these people more intimately and connecting with them because all you can do is be online, and you try and fit that in more than, my friend that lives down the street. I know that I'll go have a beer with him eventually, but I've probably talked to you more this month than I have him because he's right there. So it's very interesting, right? But yeah, I can't wait. Me and the Grimoire crew, we romanticize about the day where we can all get together and high five and stuff. And I just want to go to like, the Northeast and stuff and see Alex and even Baron. I mean, RJ's in Ireland, but Baron's in California. I think Southern California, if I'm not mistaken. So he's not all that far from me. We share the same time zone. We're on the West Coast. I could drive to him in a day or two, so it's not that big
Well,
of
I
a
think
deal,
that
but
someday we just need to pick a date. Like,
yeah, we should all meet somewhere central. Yeah.
And pick somewhere central that's like, everyone's going to have to travel, but at least it'll be like somewhat even, and just have like a big book community. Like everyone's invited. Like, I would love that.
That would be awesome. I can't wait. Yeah, there's so many of you guys that want to. Yeah, we were saying that, Mike obviously has a huge following and he's our superstar and stuff. And so I was thinking like it'd be cool for him to kind of host this, like a con or something.
A con,
all these booktubers come and other people and people that just kind of want to finally meet because there's so many Discords.
Because I'll help coordinate it. Like I'll help organize and put it together. Let's do it.
For sure. Instead of sending him somewhere. My following is 96% bots. I doubt it, Mike. Come on. But I do have a funny story about the first time that I did this reading sprint. The first time I did one was with RJ, and very quickly we ended up getting like almost 4,000 views on this live stream.
You're like,
and we were both very confused because we're both like super noobs at this, and we were just literally reading books. Like people were saying like, oh, we're just watching them read. Yeah, it's not super exciting. But it ended up getting up to 4,000 views, and my wife made the comment like, oh yeah, like you got hit by some bots. And I was like, I don't know, man. Like why, like how would that ever happen? And then it started going down every day, and it got down to like 2,000 views or something like that, but it stayed there. And so I wonder if they just were like, okay, well that's too punitive, or if it was actually 2,000 views and it just kind of, the rest were bots. So I don't know what happened, but
that's funny.
We'll see how this one goes. This one probably has 10 views, but that's okay because we had fun.
Well, and I know a lot of people have been like, well, what's the point of a reading sprint, or like, what do you do? And the way I see it is it's more for you and I. Like
it's for you and I, and for people to join in if they want.
It's a chance for you and I to like chat and hang out 100%. And catch up, and then we read and then maybe discuss, maybe not. And then if people join us and are in the comments and they're reading too, then that's icing on the cake. But more than anything, I think it's just a time to like set aside and be like, I'm hanging out with Theo this morning and we're going to read, we're going to catch up. So.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. My wife was jealous. She's like, oh, you get to hang out with people, and I got to go to work today. So Rachel, let's get MikeCon going. I think we can get something started. Instead of sending him somewhere to represent us in our community at this like con, let's just start our own and we'll do it. That'll be awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah. But it's almost 11, and I think we'll probably wrap it up and give ourselves some time to do our own thing and maybe read.
I'm going to finish Howling Dark. My next internet friend interactions.
Yeah, I love it. Today's kind of an online community day for sure. So it's awesome. So Madison, thank you so much for hanging out. I hope you got some.
Thanks for having me. That was fun.
I hope Crawdads works for you because I'd be curious to see what you think.
I'm definitely intrigued. Like I'm hooked. Cool. Like so, I told you that it was a time jump. It turns back. It's going back and forth between the two.
Does that work well? Is it doing okay?
Yeah, no, it definitely has me hooked. Because there's a mystery there, and I'm dying to see what happens. So I'm glad I started it.
Good. Awesome. Yeah, I hope everybody else was able to get some reading in, or just, whatever. It was just nice to chat with some people. Thanks for stopping in, Matt. I appreciate it. Nice knowing you. And I guess we'll talk soon.
Yes. Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye, guys. Bye.